Week 16 ends with a Monday Night Football matchup between the Chargers and Colts. LAC can clinch its first playoff berth since 2018 with a win. Now, this line has been sitting at 4 for a lot of the weekend holiday, but 3.5s are also on the board depending on where you're going. So still north of a field goal, 3.5 or 4 at Caesars Sportsbook with a total right around 44 and a hook. All right, to get us ready for Monday Night Football from a betting perspective, nobody better than Mike McClure from the Early Edge Podcast and Sportsline. And we're going to get to your pick ATS in just a second, Mike, but we're going to go through the prop market first. So when we take a look at, anytime TD score, let's put those odds up on the board right now. I'm curious to think of whether you're going to go chalk or maybe find something else on the board. What selection are you going to go with today?
Yeah, we're going to go chalk to start here. It's going to be Austin Ekeler. Look, I think the price point should be closer to minus 150 on this for Ekeler. And the reason for it is I expect a ton of too high safety here from the Colts, which means we're going to see more dink and dunk down the field, not expecting a ton of huge plays for the end zone. That's where we know Austin Ekeler is going to be on the field and involved in the red zone. He's such a dynamic weapon, both on the ground and through the air in those short area passes. So at this number against this particular defense in a dome indoors, I've got to eat the chalk here and play Austin Ekeler minus 120.
All right, eat chalk, but you're saying a 30-cent difference from what you're having there. So if we go then to an Austin Ekeler prop, you mentioned that he can do it both on the ground and in the air. So that's a big reason why you take a look at his rushing prop and you're going under in this situation.
Yeah, I'm going under in it here, and I'll preface this by saying I expect a very competitive game. If you think the game's going to be really one-sided, you may not want to play the under here, but the Colts are a really strong run defense, strong defense overall, 11th in DVOA. He's also losing carries to Joshua Kelly a little bit. They want to keep him fresh, keep him involved down in the red zone. I've also mentioned I expect a lot of dinking and dunking here with the two high safeties. I don't think it's going to be a lot of rushing the ball. I think they're going to put the ball in Justin Herbert's hands, but I think that's going to eat into the rushing total here for Austin Ekeler, who's gone over this total in just 4 of 14 games so far this season. It's never fun fading running back rushing numbers below 60. However, I think this is a perfect spot to do it. Let's go under 54.5 rushing yards.
All right, 54.5, and maybe it's a big day catching the football instead. And remember, those scrimmage yards will be big for him, but just not in the rushing department. If we were looking for something else in terms of the Indianapolis Colts running backs, you're targeting Zack Moss here. But this time, you're going to go over his 55.5 mark.
Yeah, we're going over here, and, we will say this is highly speculative. We haven't seen a ton because Jonathan Taylor obviously gets all the work. In the last game, over 20 carries for Zack Moss. Some of it was game script. However, I expect him to be the lead back. Look, this Chargers team, terrible against the run, 5.4 yards per carry. I think you, Tommy, could get out there and get at least 3.5 yards a carry here against this Chargers defense. I think Zack Moss is going to be the workhorse here, though. I expect close to 20 carries in this game. This number should be closer to 65 yards. Love Zack Moss in this spot.
Okay, let's get back to the Chargers and Justin Herbert. What prop are you playing with him tonight?
Yeah, playing into the two high safeties here, I'm going to go passing attempts on Justin Herbert because I don't think we see the deep shots down the field as much. I think we see a lot of dinking and dunking. At 37.5, over is the play here for me. Gone over this in 4 straight games, 47, 47, 51, and 42. Most notably the 42 in the last game against the Titans, a team that's going to run the ball like the Colts did, or like the Colts will this in this particular game. He's still going over this, and it makes a lot of sense. He's got his weapons back, so there are far more options here on the field. He is a great quarterback. They want to put the football in his hands. However, I think this number should be 39.5, getting a nice little break here at 37.5. Let's go over on the passing attempts.
I'm going to be sweating one fantasy semifinal. I'm going up against Justin Herbert, and he needs to go south of 30 fantasy points. So he can throw it as much as he wants. Just don't throw it too many times to the end zone and maybe give it to Austin Ekeler to punch it in. In terms of a game prop to target, correct me if I'm wrong, you used to do these in college football, these first quarter specials, and you didn't really transfer them over to the NFL, but we don't have college football really anymore except for bowl season. You got a first quarter play under tonight for us to tail?
I do, yeah. We're going to go under. If you followed on the early edge, we love the first quarter unders in college football. Same thing here, a relatively big number, 1.5. It makes sense when you're playing indoors in a dome. The kicking game is a lot easier to get to here. However, I like the under. I think that, you've got a few things at play here. Obviously, new quarterback for the Colts with Foles Could take a minute to get settled into this game. We know they're going to run the football. That's going to eat some clock as well. The Indy defense, though, again, basically a top 10 defense in terms of DVOA. On the other side, I keep mentioning, I think we're going to see the two-high safety. I think we're going to see a ton of dink and dunk. That leads to completed passes, moving the ball down the field a little slower, eating clock here. It doesn't take a lot for this to hit the under here. Basically, you need 2 punts, 1 punt. You're going to get this one for sure. Let's go under 9.5 here in the first quarter.
Okay, we'll see if we'll sweat out that field goal attempt or seeing it as 7-0 and seeing what happens there, or maybe getting first and goal to go with less than a minute and see if they can bleed over to the second quarter and cash that under ticket. All right, let's get to the game itself. Again, 3.5 or 4. You're backing Indy here, and I know a lot of people are saying, why are you backing Indy, Mike? They just had that epic collapse against Minnesota. They have nothing to play for. The Chargers are trying to get to the postseason. You're grabbing the points in this situation. Why is that?
Yeah, I'm grabbing the points here. I just still think it's too many for a primetime home underdog like this. Most important to note that they're at home. Obviously, an interesting week for both sides with the holidays, all the travel here. Look, I like the Colts in the spot, though. I'd make the number 2 in this particular game. You're getting it through all the key numbers here, getting it up to 4. The wild card, of course, Nick Foles. We haven't seen him really play a ton in the last 2 years. We've seen him work his magic many times before that. It can't get worse than what we were seeing from Matt Ryan at this point. I expect him to have the ability to throw the football down the field and potentially scramble when needed. This Chargers team simply does not cover big numbers. They've only won a game by 6 points or more one time. That was against the Texans in week 4. If you could say one game doesn't count throughout the year, that's probably the early season Texans there. I love this number at 4, leaving the backdoor cover open here. I think the Colts come out highly motivated after that embarrassing performance defensively and offensively in the second half of that game against Minnesota. You got the home field here. Let's take the points with the Colts.
All right, great stuff as always, M Squared. Good luck to all your plays tonight. Certainly appreciate it as always. Want to remind everybody about Sportsline's live betting hour. Mike and I were with Alan Bell on Friday night and had some fun. And then tonight, Eric Casillas and his crew will have you covered. By the way, the Chargers' average margin of victory is just 4.125 points per game. But again, they can clinch a playoff berth with a win tonight. That's the Sportsline Live Betting Show in terms of what M Squared and all those guys are doing in their analysis plays on the website. New members, go to sportsline.com/join. Use the promo code TROPHY, and you get Sportsline for just $1 for your first month.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.